Hey y'all, new day, new verse. Let's dig in to verses 6 through 7. That's also why you pay taxes, so that an orderly way of life can be maintained. Fulfill your obligations as citizens, pay your taxes, pay your bills, respect your leaders. And it seems a pretty quick idea, pay your debts, okay. We understand that concept very well. Jesus paying the final debt that none of us could. Do you respect your leaders? Well, we may not respect them because of them. We respect them because God is the one who ordains these things. We can at least respect them as other human beings. So even if we don't offer them capital R respect, like, oh, I respect you. And this is kind of where culture gets weird, because we have two different meanings for respect. One where it's like we have somebody who we honor their opinion, and the other kind of respect where we just show them the decency that every human being deserves. And I think at minimum, every human being deserves that kind of respect. So for the bit of it, and I know really, really quick one today, but small verse, and well, the ideas are pretty simple. Admittedly, I know a lot of people who are very much in the bracket of, why pay the taxes to begin with? And to that, I would simply answer this. When Jesus was asked, about the whole paying taxes thing, and he was handed a coin and said, whose face is on it? He answered, Caesar. He said, cool, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, render unto God that which is God's. And it made me think about what the idea of taxes is, because there's another time we see taxes actually show up in the Bible too. It's the temple tax. And one of the priest leaders asked Peter if... Okay. Sorry, doggo. One of the priest leaders asked Peter, hey, does your teacher pay the temple tax? And Peter says yes, without even thinking about it. Next time he sees Jesus, because he didn't consult Jesus about it, next time he sees Jesus, Jesus says, hey, is the son exempt, or, is the child exempt for the son? That kind of question. And then he sends Peter to go fish up a fish with the temple tax, and he says to avoid offending anybody. So this shows you, at least to me, what Jesus thinks of taxes in general, whether it be government elected taxes or religious taxes. The temple tax was a religious tax. Either way, he was just like, whatever. God makes a way. The provision will come for you to do so. So just do it. Because the people whose faces are on the money we use, whether it was Caesar's then or the founding fathers now, for the states, Elizabeth and the Queen, different royalty, people like that, aristocracy for other nations. So if somebody is arrogant enough to want their face printed on everything, let them have it back. Who cares? Because look at it this way. Instead of being, oh, I'm forced to pay taxes and wanting to self-flagellate, why not just give back to the person their own pompous money? Because it's all monopoly money. And admittedly, this is where I'm going to go a little away from the Bible and just kind of talk for just a brutal moment. If it's all fiat currency without any real backing, then why does it matter? Just do it and be done with it. Because the entire argument of taxes and leadership and all these different minutiae things, the last three verses, all of these are distractions. Because we want to spread the kingdom. We want people to see the way that God calls us to live. And so with doing the taxes and things like that, we don't have to worry about living to a little g government standard. We worry about living to the big G government standards, or rather less worry, more try to. Because if we're living on God's standard, then, we'll get back to Caesar what's his. He's the one who wanted his face on it. Who cares? Who cares? It's not the focus. The focus is to show that we belong to a different kingdom. And that our lives are meant to show that different kingdom's way of living. So for this verse, I don't see it as a whole, well, see, the Bible forces you to pay money. No, Jesus actually seemed rather indifferent about the concept of taxes in general, because it wasn't the point. He wasn't there for the temple tax. He wasn't there for Caesar's tax. He was there for the people who were forced to pay them. And in answering the render unto Caesar's, that which is Caesar's, render unto God, that which is God's, if your entire being belongs to God, which you are his creation, which means you're his. Now, whether or not you want to listen to him, that's besides the point. That's a completely different question. But God made you, so you're his. And he'll listen. If we say we want nothing to do with him, he'll let us be. That's end of discussion for those who don't. But if you want God, then chase after him. The rest, it's just kind of there. I mean, even gold erodes into nothingness given enough time. And time is not really a big issue for God because he exists outside of it. So why worry about the taxes and things like that? Because again, Jesus, the fish, it wasn't about the tax. Because he kind of admonishes Peter for answering flippantly about the fact that, oh yes, he pays the tax. Because Jesus answers, so we don't offend. Because his heart was after the people. Peter had answered yes, and so Jesus was like, well, thanks for that. Go get the money. And had him go fishing. Because it's not about the money. It's about the person who's inside that system, who's trying their best. It's about the person whose job is one of the crappier ones in the society and offering that love, decency, and respect. Not because they deserve it or do deserve it. That's not the point. We do it because it's how we're called to live. And that's the difference. So when I read pay your taxes, I don't see it as some bona fide endorsement of April 15th or whatever your tax day may be. I see it as an echo of saying it ain't about the money. It's about God. You belong to God. Give God all your being. Give the paper back to whoever wanted their face printed on it in the first place. Because that's not the point. Now, I will see you guys Monday, actually, for verses 8 through 10. See you then. God bless.